Jayson Tatum, the Celtics' first-round draft pick, is selling a new narrative. He was on the WTF in the Attic podcast, and he had this to say, quote, "The Celtics were always going to pick me number one, but Philly didn't know that. Philly thought that Boston was going to pick Markelle, so Philly traded the pick and gave Boston a pick for next year." Do you buy Jayson Tatum's narrative that the Celtics were always going to pick him number one?
Sit down. Be humble. You balled in the summer league, young fella. I saw you doing work. He's going to be able to get buckets in the league. He was the best fit for the Boston Celtics, in particular because he's more polished offensively right now than Josh Jackson, can get his own shot, and is going to give him another weapon up front. However, they weren't taking you number one, dog.
They were not taking you number one. That was not the plan. That's what they told you. I believe that's what they told you. I believe that you are not lying on this podcast. I believe that you believe what you are saying, but they were not going to take you number one.
Here's actually what took place. Danny Ainge basically said it. They felt the top three players were comparable to one another. So if that's the case, I might as well trade back, get an asset, and still pick a player that I'm happy with. That's what took place. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, we want him regardless.
Yeah.
Because if that was the case, and they felt like, oh, you was Tim Duncan, number one, and they wanted to make sure they got you, they wouldn't have traded back.
If you were the number one pick, Jayson Tatum, you would have been the number one pick.